Dear compatriots, on 16th October 2010, exactly 2 years today, I took the oath of office as the democratically elected governor of our dear state. This was a direct consequence of the judicial pronouncement of the Court of Appeal sitting in Ilorin on 15th October 2010, which ruled that I was the lawfully elected governor of the state in the April 14, 2007 and the April-May 2009 gubernatorial elections in Ekiti state. Dear brothers and sisters, the last 24 months have been eventful and exhilarating in our quest to repair the damage done by the departing authority and at the same time restart the clock of progress in Ekiti state. I am happy to report that the state of the state is on the upswing and the light of development is shining yet again. But I must remind all of my cautionary statements in my inaugural speech that this will not be smooth sailing, that the road will be rough and the climb will be steep, but that this also represents the history of our people, a history of continuing struggle. The last 2 years have also proved that the struggle has been well worth the trouble. Today, the state has successfully risen to address the critical questions of development and restoration of hope. Even though we cannot claim to have reached the destination of our journey, we have nonetheless moved away from the spot of stagnation of our recent history. The focus is clear. The direction is unambiguous. It is movement with motion. It is a journey with maps. Hence, the theme of the celebration is reclaiming the trust of our people, delivering the promise for our people. Our administration recognizes the power of trust as the necessary variable to implement our vision of unparalleled progress for our state within a short period of time. This becomes a major starting point, going by the experience of our people with our predecessors, which created an understandable measure of cynicism about government. We have to recreate the parameters to make people trust the intentions of government, especially those who have the legitimate mandate to represent the people and superintend over their commonwealth. This is not an easy task, but I thank you, the good people of Ekiti State, for believing in us and showing us tremendous support everywhere we turn since we assumed office. The people's trust in the genuine intentions of this government has equally created in us the urge to do more with every sense of responsibility so as not to disappoint the people. It has indeed compelled us to step up competence, openness, concern, and reliability in public conduct. We have also managed to come to a good conclusion that even when the people disagree with us, it does not have to be necessarily on a disagreeable basis. All of us are living witnesses to the parallel state of affairs in our dear state when we took office in October 2010. Over 40 billion was hanging precariously on the state, along with many uncompleted and abandoned projects in all sectors. At the time, the state was collecting 2.8 billion naira monthly from the federation accounts. At the time, there was a palpable loss of hope in the state among the citizenry. Violence and all forms of criminal activities reigned supreme. Also pathetic was the state to which governance was reduced. Everybody was helping himself or herself to the slices that could be taken, while acts of governance became thoroughly politicized in areas of resource allocation and location of social amenities and public facilities. Today, the story has changed considerably. We have been able to restore the core Ekiti values of passion, of honesty, courage, integrity, character, and honor in public service. We have restored a measure of hope and confidence in Ekiti State. Based on our model of participatory governance, we have managed to touch all sections of the 8-point agenda, drawn as the roadmap to Ekiti recovery, made possible because of our bottom-up approach to development, through our town hall, village square meetings, to articulate government programs and also listen to our people's expectations. Even though a few of the steps taken on critical issues have been unsurprisingly controversial, all of us in our deep inner recesses would appreciate that these are inevitable steps to march to our corporate place at the top. This is understandable because of the undignified, don't let us ruffle the feather policy of our immediate past administrations for cheap political relevance and acceptance. These, as we all know, are cosmetic styles that neither helped us as an entity nor added any value to us as a people all the while. Without being immodest, our record of achievement in the past 2 years in Ekiti State is better both in quality and quantity than the previous 7.5 years in which the opposition was in office. Many of our people have expressed surprise and continue to express surprise as to where we get the resources to accomplish all these tasks. My simple response has always been that planning, prudence, and total commitment to the agenda have made it all possible. So much has been said about the 8-point agenda of this administration. This is our articulated vision to renew Ekiti State. Saying that we have pursued this agenda vigorously is an understatement, because evidence abounds across the state to attest to the potency of the agenda as a holistic transformation blueprint. It is from the prism of the agenda that I like to present to the good people of Ekiti State our scorecard, albeit briefly, as we celebrate the 2nd anniversary of this government, the inauguration of which you are all core stakeholders. If we look at the area of governance, we recognize that good governance is the foundation of any developmental agenda. This explains our regular interface with Ekiti people through interactive sessions. I have exemplified our trust in the people as the best judges of our activities in government by keeping them abreast of government activities. For instance, prior to the preparation of the 2012 budget, we toured the 16 local government areas in the state to know the needs of all the communities and constituencies. Subsequently, we integrated these into the state's budget. Shortly before the commencement of the activities marking the 2nd anniversary, I also went round and only just concluded another round of village meetings and town hall meetings in preparation for the 2013 budget. This we intend to sustain, not only to prepare for budget, but to biannually appraise our budget performances. The fact that we run an effective, open, responsive, and representative government can be further seen in the establishment of the Social Security Program for the aged. The Social Security Scheme was announced the day I took the oath of office, though it actually commenced a year after because of the need for planning and enumeration. This comforting safety net for the elderly is now a reference point, not only nationally, but also in the West African sub-region. With a legal backing which makes it sustainable, we have been paying a monthly stipend of 5,000 naira to all registered elderly people in the state who are above the age of 65, are not pensioners, and have lived here for 3 years and above. Over 20,000 senior citizens are benefiting from this program. In the area of infrastructure development and in fulfillment of one of our promises to connect all parts of Ekiti State by motorable roads, by the year 2014, we embarked on a massive road construction project across the state. As I speak, there are 20 ongoing road projects initiated by the Ministry of Works and Transportation. Another 25 road projects which the ministry inherited were taken over and are at different stages of completion. As we celebrate this second anniversary, no fewer than 10 of the roads are being commissioned, and many more before the end of the year. The seemingly jinxed Ado-Iworoko-Ifaki Road, which when inherited by this administration had gulped 80% of the contract sum with less than 20% work done, is witnessing a turnaround. From the less than 20% completion level that we met, it has now reached 80% completion. Our urban renewal initiative is also key as regards the beautification of Ekiti cities. The state capital is our first point of attention. Rural electrification and water supply, as well as community development, have also received a lot of attention, moving us nearer the establishment of optimum communities in all our local governments. The efforts in all these areas have eased the burden of life and living for millions of the residents of the state and moved us closer to making poverty history. In the area of agriculture, our ambition is to make agriculture or agribusiness the highest generator of revenue from the state, revive cocoa plantations, and make Ekiti, and by that token Nigeria, the world leader in cocoa production. To us, northern agriculture should be a hub of economic activities, capable of boosting internally generated revenue, and serve as the creator of massive employment. We have thus put in place policies and programs to change the agriculture sector in the state. For instance, the Youth in Commercial Agriculture Development Program, YCAD, launched in April 2012, is to generate 20,000 jobs for the youth by the year 2014. Already, 150 new youth commercial farmers have benefited from 1,500 related jobs from this program. In addition to cocoa, we are also focusing on developing the full value chain of cassava, rice, and oil palm. There are several other initiatives that we have embarked upon in the area of agriculture transformation, which will cumulatively revolutionize not only the agriculture sector, but also the overall industrial economy of the state, particularly the attraction of commercial agricultural players in large-scale farming and food processing. In the area of education and human capital development, today, free education for primary and secondary schools, declared on 16th October 2010, has become firmly rooted. The ongoing school renovation project, in which more than half of the public schools are being given a facelift, is considered by many as unprecedented because it's not happened in these shores in a long while. Besides, we have an irreversible commitment to ensuring that every student in our secondary schools has a computer of his or hers, while also creating special initiatives for physically challenged students and a sports academy for gifted youths. By the end of this year, we would have distributed 33,000 laptops to students and 18,000 to teachers, as well as sporting equipment worth millions of naira to secondary schools in the state. We're equally making similar significant strides in all of our tertiary institutions, with core concentration on capacity building and infrastructural development. In the area of health care delivery, this government has continued in the last 2 years to provide free medical services for children, pregnant women, senior citizens, and the physically challenged. We have also established health centers in all localities whilst increasing the immunization coverage in the state, strengthening the state ambulance service, expanding medical assistance to needy patients across the state, and bolstering the state's capacity for effective healthcare delivery. Our success in healthcare services is positively recognized in the latest statistical indices which the Federal Ministry of Health recently released. Ekiti State now has the highest life expectancy in the country and one of the lowest maternal mortality and child mortality index, whilst also attaining the lowest HIV prevalence in Nigeria. And in the area of industrial development, our government has successfully created technology and industrial parks for small and medium-scale enterprises, established microcredit facilities, and developed agro-allied and solid mineral sectors of the local economy. We have also established the Fountain Holdings Limited, which manages the investment portfolio of the state and represents the government in public-private partnerships. The Ekiti State Enterprise Development Agency, charged with encouraging, promoting, and coordinating investment activities in the state, has continued to successfully stimulate economic growth in Ekiti. I am happy to inform compatriots that today, 2 moribund industrial infrastructures, Ire Bricks Factory, dead in the last 21 years, and Odua Enterprise Center, formerly Odua Textile, comatose in the last 23 years, have been resuscitated. The new initiative is expanding the state's resources, providing numerous job opportunities, encouraging new skills acquisition by workers, and ultimately aimed at enlarging the middle class in the state. As for tourism, I encourage you all to visit the hub of the State Tourism Corridor in Ikogosi to behold the massive investment of this administration in tourism. The intention of government is for the state to attract the tens of millions of people engaged in rural tourism annually around the world and make Ekiti the most attractive destination for relaxation and holidays, not only in Nigeria, but also in the West African sub-region. It is a known fact that we are blessed with some of the most picturesque natural landscape, including beautiful mountains and alluring valleys. At the moment, the Ikogosi Cold and Warm Spring Tourist Resort is undergoing an unprecedented turnaround, including the redesigning of the old landscape with the construction of villa chalets and an amphitheater. The first phase of this new look Ikogosi Tourist Center, which has now been completed, will attract both national and international tourists. On gender equality and women's empowerment, this government deliberately embraced Millennium Development Goals of promoting gender equality and women empowerment. Consequently, our administration is the first in Nigeria to sign into law the Gender-Based Violence Prohibition Bill. We are also the first to domesticate the national gender policy. Various women-focused initiatives have played crucial roles in promoting gender equality and women's empowerment. We're closely monitoring the progress of our development efforts to ensure that they all help in closing the gender gap and empower women by providing access to social, economic, and political opportunities. Compatriots, we have endeavored to link governance with infrastructure development and established a connection between education and human capital development, and gender equality and women empowerment. And we've attempted to tie all of these with the need for a healthy population. The modernization of agriculture has also been connected to the massive push for industrial development. Related to all this is the creation of tourist attractions, not only to provide an economic niche for the state, but also as places of relaxation for a healthier and more enlightened citizenry that has greater opportunities for better income and better livelihoods. May I reiterate my declaration at inauguration on 16th October 2010. We must be honest and admit that attaining greater height in Ekiti State is possible, but it will require more than just government. There is no magic wand about it. It will require a renewed sense of responsibility from each of us. Yes, government must lead, but each of us must do our part in rebuilding this beloved state of ours. But my state of the state will also not just concentrate on what we have done. It will equally dwell on the continuing challenges that we face. The greatest of these challenges remains our commitment, or lack of it, to the core values of integrity and honor in the land of honor. We will not get tired of drumming this up at every opportunity until we restore the forces of character as the beauty of our land. After all, as our ancestors have always said, Iwalewa. Some of our material challenges will not be easily overcome, but we have what it takes to have the ultimate victory in all fronts. As we provide leadership, I seek the cooperation of all and sundry to join in the task of rebuilding this state. We're lighting the candle for our people to find the pathway. There are many tasks ahead, and we still have a long way to go in Ekiti State. However, I am convinced that we have laid the foundation for the creation of an enduring, democratic, prosperous, and greater Ekiti State where poverty will eventually become history. I today reaffirm, along with members of my administration, to stand for justice and equity, to redouble efforts at building a state that will be a pride to all. My sacred social contract with the people of Ekiti State will continue to be renewed to meet the expectations of our common folk. I congratulate all Ekitiketes on the milestone achieved so far, on the peace that has remained in our land in the last 2 years, and wish you and every one of us, visitors, residents, indigenes, all better years ahead. Ekiti Agbeao, thank you, and God bless.